Hello everybody and welcome to KeyKulture podcast. This is Matei
And I am Niilo Tarnanen.
and as you see we are back to the first episode. We have this amazing picture and the amazing setup. I realized today while coming here that I even almost have a very similar shirt to the one I was wearing the first episode. So
I have no idea what I was wearing then, but this is okay.
I think we're both wearing black.
Seems so.
We're almost wearing both black. Yeah, just as a funny point, let's see if that makes the final cut or not. But some people were complaining the first episode that the way we were dressed looked so much similar to the way the couch is designed, so it looked like we were hugging. So we want to make everyone be sure that we were not hugging during the first episode. But this is, we're going to talk a bit about the conclusions we have drawn from these episodes we've had so far. We would like to have every once in a while these kind of episodes where we do conclusions of the previous podcasts, kind of to unpack more or less to people who don't have time to look at all the episodes what we have kind of been talking about.
Like me.
Yeah, and I mean, has been rather interesting so far, I would say.
I would also say, yeah.
Has been also a lot of work. So if we talk about, for example, our actual work, I would say that it has been very much work, but also very rewarding. Like for whoever doesn't know, it takes very long time to edit these videos, to find the guests and to talk back and forth with them when we can get them on the show, making the thumbnails, the video descriptions, everything. But we really hope it's all going to be worth it.
I think so. I have to be really grateful for you of taking most of the hard job, at least up to this point.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So this would be one take, let's say, but what did we learn from the people we talked with? We talked so far with Ida Antola, with Kanerva Mannerma, with Joel Papinoja, with Antoni Marini,
Markku
Klami, and Kaisa Kortelainen and Jerry Piiponen. And so freelance musicians, one teacher, and some orchestra musicians. Well, what have we learned from them so far? What would you say, Niilo?
Well, if we think that we have discussed kind of basically two topics that are of course wrapped together, but we have discussed the effects of the COVID pandemic to the people who are involved in the music life, and then on the other hand we have been talking about the music as itself and kind of the variety in the classical music and what's going on in it. Maybe if we start on the COVID side, I think it's quite clear that it has had some consequences to everybody, but exactly what kind of consequences it depends really much depending how secure your position in the job market are. So whether you're gonna have a permanent job or otherwise that kind of job that that you kind of rely on it, or whether you are totally dependent on gigs that just come and go. So this kind of divided the people who we have talked by far.
Yeah, this has been also probably my main conclusion, that there is kind of two types of people: the ones who do have a secure job and the ones who don't. And I guess the ones who don't suffer much more than the ones who do, but because they can't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next month, in 3 months. It's nice to know that those gigs for which you signed up are going to happen, and you never know if they're going to happen, and that's very stressful. And then you also realize how much you like music because you don't play it all the time and you would like to. But also that seems to be the somewhat problem for the people who do have jobs, like us actually. I mean, we haven't had, we didn't enjoy concerts as much as we used to. We don't play. I mean, we don't play anyway, but like,
well,
even if they're like players, they don't, they probably can't enjoy music as much as they used to because there's all these restrictions. And while at least the two orchestra musicians that we had were very happy with changing up the repertoire. I think.
Yeah, actually, the repertoire thing is one really interesting take from the things by far. It would be really interesting to discuss that with more people to come
Sure,
in
sure.
in the becoming episodes too.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even the people who do have jobs have either not been enjoying music as much as they used to, or they haven't played pieces they used to play often, let's say like big orchestra pieces. Or someone like me who, every once in a while has a performance here and there, and now all these get restricted and restricted. So everything has been kind of turned to the minimum. So, so that I think affects even people who do have a job.
Definitely, and I think one really interesting question is how it's going to affect us in future. I mean, in 1 year, in 2 year, in 5 year perspective, and that we don't know yet. But it will be really interesting to see, and I think we need to kind of do a lot of fighting to kind of defend the future of or I mean the future possibilities to go on, because we don't really know how long this is gonna go on.
Yeah, guys, and this is also one reason why we do this podcast, because we kind of want to bring people together. We want to build a very much needed solidarity. Like, we want to know what each of the people and categories of people in our field struggle with, and what they hope would happen, what kind of future of this classical music field they would want to have, how they see financial possibilities. And I think we hope that if we can get more of these ideas together, it could kind of serve as a bank of information for people who want to understand the whole picture of our field.
Yeah, and I also think that during these discussions we also get new ideas, and this might keep us going on. Yeah. One really interesting point that came in the discussion with Ida and Kanerva was about ageism, and that sometimes you should be really young to get the opportunities. On the other hand, in some other positions, you are supposed to be very experienced, to be convincing. And in some really odd situations, you're kind of supposed to be both of these on the same time, which is kind of impossible in a sense. And I think this is one thing that we should discuss more. And up to this point, we have talked it with freelance performing musicians. But I think it could be also interesting to talk this with colleague composers, for example, like how does this go in composer's life, and how is it maybe combined to the pressure to get some success in your early stages of the career?
There definitely are, let's say, market induced like pressures to be young and successful, and I would also say increasingly good looking, and at least in some cases. Well, for example, if you think of some of the most famous pianists now, like no, I don't know the
Well, never mind.
What was the name of this Chinese pianist?
Long. No, that's the
female.
Yeah.
Or Boniashvili, but I don't want to say their names like shit.
Oh, well.
Well, anyway.
Maybe we'll edit it. Okay.
But you see all these like young, successful, let's say, female pianists who are wearing short skirts and like very more and more provoking outfits, even though they are like great performers. But there seems to be this tendency for, if we can also get to sell a bit of like beauty, why not? We're gonna get more clicks, or we're gonna get more likes, and
kind of getting marketability with something that is not actually doing anything with the music per
Yeah,
se.
yeah, and it didn't used to be such a high issue. Like it used to be in Hollywood, like beauty was sold in, I don't know, in a Hollywood movie also 50 years ago or 8 years ago, but was not so much of an issue in classical music as it is now, I would say. So
I don't know. Interesting. I think this is maybe one thing to dig deeper
right,
in the
right.
becoming episodes. Definitely.
And what did we learn, like about how people would want these changes to happen? Like, what do people hope financially would be, or how the future would look like? I would say for me, one of the biggest takes was this discussion about how schools and orchestras could work more together into providing a future audience. Because we always hear this complaining that orchestras are financed by the states, but then in the same time they're not producing anything, and they don't have younger audience. But I would say that if schools would, for example, have the possibility to take kids to orchestras concerts more often, maybe people from a young age could get the taste of this, and therefore you would have a future audience, and therefore this whole thing could be somewhat self-sustainable. If you do have institutions paid by the state that you have to finance all the time, you shouldn't worry about them dying out because you don't have new public, because the new public is always learning at school other things than anything to do with classical music. So this for me was a very interesting take.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's many things to say about the kind of possibilities of the possibilities of organizations making some collaboration, and I think especially in these times when kind of the normal ways of doing are coming down, it's a good time to think in what ways could institutions and other organizations survive or even thrive by finding some collaborations they haven't done that much before. Yeah.
And also this idea that we can't only 100% rely on state funds, but we can't also 100% rely on free market. Everybody does their own gigs kind of mentality.
I think this is quite clear from what if we just observe the society as it is, at least in Finland, that the public and the private and then the third sector are kind of, they are doing a bit different things from bit different motivations, and that I think provides a good mix up so that it's not too one way looking field.
What will we have for future, Niilo? What do we want to still do?
Yeah, well, still, I think we are just starting. We're
Sure.
Yeah. I think it would be really interesting to discuss these COVID topics still with more people to come. And maybe on those episodes we will find more of these issues about the future or about the problems of our field, such as the ageism or the finances or the possibilities with the organizations like that we just talked. So then we could maybe have more episodes with focusing on just some of this kind of topic in the future.
Right. And we were thinking, also to invite maybe some composers to discuss I think it's important for public to kind of understand also a bit what we composers do. Many people, whether they're musicians or public, have a problem unpacking the importance or the meaning of contemporary music. So I think we could try to unpack for the audience stuff about aesthetics or why we write and how we write, and
And maybe also to show some divisions and some kind of controversies that are going on the field, because it's kind for us it's kind of clear that we don't like everything that our colleagues are doing, but maybe for those who are not so that are
up
not
to date,
or those who are not all everyday kind of doing the new music or listening it, so maybe they don't see this picture as clearly as I.
Exactly. So
Or actually, maybe then they see it clearer after hearing our shows. I don't know.
well, hopefully they would. So we could try to do some of that. Maybe if we are lucky enough, we're gonna convince some conductors to come to our show. Also,
Let's see.
maybe some more orchestra musicians, some more even people from couple of like outside of our field to see what they think also. But anyway, we have more shows for you to come. These are pretty much our conclusions so
Up to
far,
this point,
up to
yeah.
this point. So, you know, I always wanted to say this. I always say, like, share, and subscribe. And wait, what was the one with the bell? How does it sound like? And click the bell icon to. How was it? Click the bell. No, not to subscribe. Click the bell icon so that you always get notified when we release a new video.
Oh.
You know, so.
That's the trick.
Yeah. We're gonna get better at this, but now that we've done what every other YouTuber has done, like say this, like, share, and subscribe, we do hope you do, and you keep tuning to KeyKulture podcast.
Yeah. At least I just don't hope that we put the very cliches dinky 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 music starting on when we start doing this. But
since I will probably edit this video, I can promise you that I'm not gonna put any of that. So don't worry about it.
yeah, this was maybe the bloopers.
Yeah.
But have a really nice day, everyone.
Have a nice day, everybody.
From the KeyKulture podcast.
Bye.